What are the best practices for the if statement, how we should use? In this video, we will discuss the 10 best practices for the if statement and we will discuss all the practices one by one with examples. Hello everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel Java Programming Goal. So let's start the video. First point is use clear and meaningful condition. It's always good if we write a clear and meaningful condition in the if statement. Whenever we have a complex expression, then try to break down into smaller and well-named Boolean variable. We will see it with an example. So here you can see we are directly checking the condition for a leap year, though the condition is not simple. That's why code is less readable and hard to maintain. The same condition might be repeated at multiple places if we want to check the leap year at multiple points. So it will be hard to maintain this code of line at multiple places. So how we can resolve it? At right hand side you can see where we created a leap year method that checks the logic of leap year and we break down the conditions into different separate variables. So now code is easier, clean and readable due to meaningful method name and variable name. The logic of leap year is placed in one place and it's easy to maintain and modify. That leads the reusability of code as it can be used in different part of code without repeating the logic. Second point is indentation and formatting. To enhance readability and make easy to use nested statements, we should keep consistent formatting. If code lacks the proper indentation and formatting, codes look cluttered and hard to read. You can see it within this example. So here just have a look at line number 10, where indentation is not proper. If any developer will see this, then he or she will get confused about where the if condition starts. You can see here the curly braces started in the next line, but in Java we should start the curly braces in the same line. You can see a correct example at right hand side where we were just starting the bracket in the same line and we use a proper indentation and formatting. So we should keep the consistency in code so that it can be easily readable and maintained. Third point is always use braces. So we should use the braces even for single line if statements. Everyone knows that braces are not mandatory for single line, but it's always a good practice to use braces to prevent potential bugs and improve code clarity. Let's see how it's a good practice. In this example, we haven't used the braces for the if statement. Just notice the line number 9 which is not intended properly. And that might create a misconception that it is a part of if condition. However, in reality, the line will be executed unconditionally regardless of the if condition's outcome. So let's use the braces and see the impact. In right hand side, we use the braces to encapsulate the lines of code inside the if statement. Now code looks much better and completely readable. Fourth point is try to use nested if statements. Avoid using the nested if statement to make code more readable and clear. Whenever you find a nesting multiple if statement, consider refactoring to code to make more readable. You can achieve it by use of the logical operators. If you haven't read or haven't seen the video for the logical operators, you can see the video or read the article from javagold.com. I placed the link of this post in description. So let's see the example. So here we want to create a program to check the eligibility of a person for a certain job based on their age and qualification. Let's see how we can achieve it by use of nested if statements. So by use of nested if statements to determine eligibility based on different conditions like age, degree and experience. But in this approach you can see it leads the deep nesting and make code more harder to read and maintain. Instead of this approach, we can try another approach which is applied on right hand side example. So here we will see how we remove the deep nesting statements. As you can see at line number 7, by use of logical operators, that is and or instead of nested if statement, the code is now more readable and maintainable. Here we use a single if statement with logical operator to check the eligibility conditions. The logical operator makes code more readable and concise and reduce the redundancy and ensure each condition is evaluated independently. So you can use logical operator instead of nested if statements. Fifth point is consistent use of parentheses. When we use logical operator in if condition, then use parentheses to group conditions to ensure the evaluation as intended. It ensures the desired evaluation order and prevent ambiguity. Let's see which type of problem we can face if we don't use parentheses and see the best practices for the if statement. Here we use the logical operator to check condition based on age, degree and experience. We haven't used parentheses to group the condition properly and that can cause the incorrect result. So let's see how we should use the parentheses when we use the logical operators. In the right hand side example, now you can see by using the parentheses here, now it evaluates the OR operator first. This way the eligibility condition is more accurately determined based on whether the applicant has either a degree or relevant experience and is at least 25-year old. So now you can see the importance of parentheses. Sixth point, always use null checks. Always perform a null check before accessing any method or variable of the object to avoid null pointer exception. Whenever you use any method or variable of object, then you should perform a null check. As you can see the problem area in this example where we have a variable of string type username that is initialized with the null. So if we don't perform a null check before accessing the length method on username object, it will throw null pointer exception at runtime because we are trying to call a method on null object. So what should be the solution? In the right hand side you can see we preferred a null check on username object before accessing the length method. By using of not null condition, we ensure we don't attempt to call method on a null object. Only when username is not null, we proceed to check its length. It's avoid the null pointer exception. So whenever you write a condition in if statement, always take care of these type of scenarios. Seventh point is use short circuiting for the logical operators. As we have seen how we can use logical operator in if statement, and we should use logical operator instead of nested statements. But we should take advantage of short circuiting behavior of logical operators. So you can read this point from my website javagold.com where I explain everything with an example. Eighth point is avoid complex condition. This point is directly linked to the first point. Don't write complex condition in if condition. Always try to keep it simple and easy to understand. If we have a complex condition, then we should refactor it or break down into small method. Here you can see we have a large condition where we are comparing three conditions. So don't do that. In right hand side example you can see we created a different method where we are performing different operation and then we are using that method call to evaluate the operation. Ninth point is use constant or enum. As a beginner we use the number or string in if condition, but we should use constant and enumeration to make your code more maintainable. Let's understand it with an example. Here we are using integer value 1, 2, 3 to represent the different user types. But if someone reads the code, it might not clear what each number represents. So let's see how we can resolve this problem. So in right hand side you can see we created a enumeration where we define our constants. So the type user enum is more expressive and type safe compared to using integer or strings. If you are not familiar with enums, you can read it from the javagold.com. I placed the link in description. 10th point is use switch case for multiple option. Instead of using ladder if statement, it's better to use switch statement. Whenever we have a multiple option to check against a single variable, we should consider using a switch case which can improve code readability. Here you can see we are using ladder if statement that may create confusion, but if you use switch case that provide more clarity, so you should avoid the ladder if statement if you have multiple scenarios. If you like the video, please hit the like button, share the video and subscribe my channel. Thank you.